I think it's about time I confess and tell you the truth about why I really sold my old van. He pulled a knuckle duster out of his coat pocket. Okay, so story time again. My old van, my Volkswagen LT46. I bought this time last year, just a little over a year ago actually. I bought that to replace my Mercedes Sprinter, which had engine problems. Me and my friend Martin drove around for many hours around Manchester, Bradford, Leeds, Sheffield, all kinds of places, looking for a van as quick as possible to replace my Sprinter. We looked at all kinds of different vans. We looked at newer Ivecos, we didn't look at any transit vans, I'll be honest, we didn't look at any transit vans because...
Directions to where?
Alright, silly. Anyway, we had no luck at all. We ended up in a confrontation with a guy at a garage who we'd arranged a deal with, and then all of a sudden he started showing somebody else around it when we'd already said we were having it. So then, just out of principle, I just left and didn't buy it. And we were just browsing Facebook Marketplace, sat in a car park, probably drinking a coffee or something, and this LT46 came up for sale, and it looked mint condition. An unusual one as well, like a bit of a wild card. Don't see many 46s on the road. It'd been downplated to 3.5 tons, so I was able to drive it on my kiddie license. So we drove to Manchester, I think like Salford area, I think it was. Straight away said, right, we want this van. So we drove over there. It'd gone dark by that time, so it wasn't the best conditions for buying a new car, but I just needed to have that van. I needed a van, but that one just seemed the right amount of retro. It were a Volkswagen, it were big, it ticked a lot of boxes. So, picked it up straight away, drove back to Sheffield. Now, at that time, my Sprinter was parked on a residential street where I'd been staying for a few weeks. Well, mainly because I just had a baby at that point as well. So, my Sprinter was parked on the street. The next day, so I parked them both on the street. So I had the Sprinter and the LT on this residential street. The next day, I drove my Sprinter over to Darren's house, and then Darren gave me a lift back so that we could pick the LT46 up to take it back to Darren's house so that I could start the build on his drive. However, that's when things started to get a little bit complicated. Darren dropped me off at my new van, and I got my stuff out of his van. I had a few bags in my hands and coats and stuff, ready to just put them in the LT46 and then crack on with my day. As I was going around to get into the van, a guy came out of his house, which it was parked outside of or near, and started shouting and swearing at me. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And he said, you're blocking my drive. It wasn't blocking his drive at all. But I said, sorry mate, I'm going now, I've got my bags, I'll get it moved, do apologise, we'll move on. He carried on shouting and swearing. Again, I had my hands full of bags. I didn't want any drama. We were about to leave. We would have left by the time he carried on shouting. But then he pulled a knuckle duster out of his coat pocket and put it on his hands, and was stood there with this knuckle duster in his hand. Now, I don't understand what would get somebody that angry. Maybe my face, I don't know. But I was in shock. I've never had a weapon like that pulled on me before. When you pull a weapon like that, your intent is to cause somebody some serious damage. So I didn't want to turn my back on the guy, just in case he hit me from behind with it. The guy was really angry, really angry. Now, I got some of this on video, but I'm not allowed to put it in this. But you just have to trust me. Darren was there, some of it was on video. This is 100% true story. As I got my phone out to record it, I recorded some of it, and he threw the knuckle duster into his garden. Obviously I didn't want to be seen with it. At that point, he squared up to me, and a red mist just went up, and I acted out of character. I'm laughing, it's not funny. I didn't want that. I was ready to leave. I apologised, I was ready to get back in my car. Anyway, headbutting him escalated the situation, but I believe that, to be fair, pulling a knuckle duster out, the situation was already escalated to a point where he wanted to be seriously violent towards me. It was a headbutt in self-defence. Alright, so you just have to trust me with that. It was a self-defence headbutt. Then I threw some punches. He ran onto his back garden. I could have left it, but I ran after him into his back garden, continuing to throw punches at him. He picked up 2 house bricks off his back garden, swung at me with one of them, threw the other one at me. Somehow we ended up in the street. Another guy randomly was filming it all as well, rather than helping the situation. I tripped over my little dangly legs. I had my hair all in my face. I couldn't see a bloody thing. I looked up and the guy was stood above me while I was laid on the floor with a brick above. He threw the brick at me from his height, missed, so I jumped up as quick as possible, carried on trying to fight. Looked like some, I don't know, like Bambi trying to fight somebody with... If Bambi had girl's hair over his eyes with skin tight jeans on and his legs were tangled in knots, that's what it looked like, me fighting this guy. He ran back onto his garden again, went into his house, picked out a wheel brace, started swinging that at me. His missus came out, tried to hold him back. She managed to calm the situation down a little bit. And I kept saying to the guy, we were going to leave. We were about to leave. There was no need for this. You didn't need to pull a knuckle duster out on me. I was no threat to you. I had my hands full of bags and coats and all kinds of things. There was no need for any of this. And now it did. I'm not going to lie. He got his ass kicked a little bit. It did, like, even though he had weapons and that, I came out unscathed. But I said to him, you've just got punched about now for nothing. There was no need for this. And he wouldn't back down. He was just still mouthing off. But obviously, he'd backed down, as in he wasn't being physically confrontational anymore. So anyway, I ended up just getting back in my van and drove off normal. I arranged to meet. I phoned Darren up because he was in his car. I phoned Darren up and said, "I'll just meet us around the corner at this car park." So we had a de-escalation, a sort of a wind down, a debrief on the situation. It was absolutely mental. I've never been in a situation like that in my life. But anyway, then I was driving back towards Darren's house and realised I got a flat tyre. Took it to the tyre garage. He said something had been stuck in it, in the sidewall. So the guy had popped one of my tyres. And then I noticed there was a big scratch X on two of my windows, I think it was. So he'd scratched my windows. This guy was unhinged, right? If he'd done all that damage, preempted a confrontation with somebody that he'd not seen, he was angry. So anyway, I had to get the first day of buying that van, I had to go get a tyre fixed, I had to go sort the window out, and I had to have a fight because of it. So from that day, I changed the reg number. Some of you noticed that I got a private reg put on it. I changed the reg number just in case I was parked up and that guy was there again, because that guy was unreasonably angry, not open to reason in any way, wasn't normal, you know. So that's why I changed the reg number on it. And then by the time it was back driving around Sheffield again, I'd got windows in it, skylights in it, all that kind of thing. It kind of looked like a different van, so I was a bit more comfortable with it. I had cameras put on it and everything, but never felt the same about that van. And when I came to selling it, when I bought this Land Rover, when I came to selling it, I wasn't sorry to see it go. From literally the first few hours of owning it, it got me in trouble. I don't like fighting, but it's kind of good when you do. Like, I would do everything to avoid having a fight, but it felt good to have a fight, you know what I mean? I shouldn't say that, but it did. I can't lie, it did feel good. It felt... I didn't want it. Again, Darren was there. It was a mental situation, but that's the reason why I sold it. I sold it a year later, but I just never gelled with that van the same. I've never felt safe in it. I never felt like it was right. Anyway, listen, I'm probably going to go through some of these crazy stories from my life a little bit more, because I think you kind of appreciate and enjoy the crazy stories that I come up with. But again, all 100% genuine, all 100% verified. Got no reason to make them up. I'll keep you updated on more stories. I've got plenty. My life's been crazy. But anyway, subscribe if you haven't already. Go to liamtheterrible.com for coffee and merch and all that stuff. Give us a comment. Let me know some of your crazy stories as well. And I'll see you soon. Bye, Felicia.